It is time for Greatness Coaching with Heidi M, Wednesdays at 2 o'clock right here on eRadio. Today we're talking about trust being like a mirror. You can try and fix it if it's broken, but you will always see the crack in the reflection, as Lady Gaga also said in one of her songs. So how do you build trust again when you've been hurt too many times? Heidi, hello.
Ian, hello. Yes, you are jumping right in there, and let me join you. Trust is like a mirror, and then when you put it back together, you'll always see the crack. I don't agree with that. I think in many situations, that crack sometimes really is not visible after a while. If you follow what I'm going to say, if you're working with two people who are, or perhaps even more than two people who are willing to work on themselves in the process, and this is for all relationships, it's not just romantic.
Yeah.
So I think often when we speak of trust, we think immediately of romantic relationships, almost forgetting about how important it is in other situations of our lives as well. I'm sure we've all had that time where we felt betrayed by a friend, or when a family member has disappointed us. And even a colleague, perhaps at work, or a boss, or yes. So if in any relationship, if you don't have trust, you don't have anything. Then there's nothing to build on.
Exactly.
And that is trust within that scenario, within that relationship, within the parameters of that relationship. Of course, I'm not going to trust my boss with my deepest feelings and having conversations with him about my romantic relationship. And trust him to not blab that out. That's going to be inappropriate. So within that realm of that relationship. So if you don't have trust, you really don't have anything. That's the basis on which we build relationships. Yeah. So once the trust has been broken, it's going to be important to put everything out in the open. This will involve having a conversation. And that, I think, is what many people are very scared of, is actually having an open communication about this. And then also, I think some people are scared of what the other person will have to say, but also what they themselves will have to say. So you're sitting next to each other or opposite each other at a table and discussing this situation. You might feel like lashing out and screaming and yelling, but that would be the time where you're going to have to make a conscious decision to say, listen, I have to control myself. I have to hear the other person. I have to be listening with an open heart and an open mind, and then trust that the other person, ironically, trust that the other person will do the same. So to hold back on any of the details when you put everything in the open will do further damage. It will eventually come back to bite you if you are not going to put everything in the open. There is a bad thing happening here. You both know it. So it's going to have to be a process of communication and discussion. How certain of your behaviors are making the other person feel. So that's going to be step one. And it's very, very hard to do. And it's going to have to be a discussion and putting everything out in the open between two adults. So you're going to have to put your big boy pants on here, Eon. Whoever broke the trust must apologize. And that is step two. And I'm sorry for making it sound like a math problem, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But where there is broken trust, logic and order kind of flies out the window because it's so incredibly hurtful.
Yeah.
It is so incredibly personal when somebody broke one's trust that I think to have steps in mind, I'm going to do this, then this, then this, then this, will assist in finding a way forward. So whoever broke the trust must apologize. That is it. And you must be genuine when you do it.
Yeah.
So the one who was untrustworthy must obviously have the sincerest of remorse. And the apology needs to include accountability and ownership. You must own it. You messed up and you must own it. And none of this is going to guarantee putting everything back together. That is also going to take two consenting, agreeing adults. But back to step 2, accountability and ownership. So if you are the one who broke the trust, you need to go and sit and decide, how am I going to how am I going to use my words to explain to the other person, the person that I hurt, that that I'm taking accountability and that I'm owning this thing. So that was step 2, the apology. Now, step 3, make sure that your partner or the other person feels understood. So don't be defensive. You need to set your defensiveness aside and truly work at understanding the other person's perspective. And that is just, in a nutshell, is called empathy. You need to understand where this person is coming from. Both of you. Now, the one whose trust was broken is going to say, but I didn't do anything wrong. That is not the attitude to go into this conversation with. You need to both understand where the other one is coming from. So you see, this is a deep thing here. And this is, of course, you only do this stuff if the relationship is important to you, Eon. If it's not important to you, then leave it. Then move on with your life merrily. So it's very important that there's no defensiveness. Take off, break down the walls, and listen to each other to understand each other, and not to just figure out your next answer or your next statement. Comes down to empathy. And the last step that I have here for you today is, the second last step, I apologize. Change the behaviors that led to the break in trust. If you're a gossiper, you're going to have to change that behavior if that is the where the trust was broken. If you betrayed someone by having an affair in a marriage, and then you're going to have to address those behaviors. So we're also going to have to say to each other, what was the behaviors that led to the break in trust? What were those behaviors? These were the behaviors. Now, how am I going to change them? All right. And not like a schoolmaster, so how are you going to change these behaviors? That's going to have to be more supportive than that. Remember that about the empathy, right? And maybe you can even assist without taking the accountability and the ownership of that person away, because it's still up to them in the end. Right. So step 4 is harder than it sounds, because to change, people don't like change, hey? People battle to change. Yeah. So, you're really going to have to want to make this work. Otherwise, this whole step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to be far too hard for you. Then explore other areas of the relationship for weakness. When you start eating better, for example, then you get healthier. Then it's got a great effect on your overall health. And you might lose some weight, and you might have better lung capacity because you don't have that extra weight to carry around with you. So you see, one thing leads to a positive in many other directions, right? And that's just a small example. So the same way, if you explore your relationship for other areas of weakness and fix those weaknesses, right, you can prevent that negative spill over into other areas and having nasty surprises in future. So while you've got each other's attention, and while you are sitting around this table, and while you are empathetic towards each other and discussing the situation with each other, also now explore. What can we fix right now, which may not be a problem right now here today, but could become a problem in future, just so that we save ourselves this heartache in the future? And that, Eon, those are 5 steps to mend the trust. And if you allow it, it will heal, it will fix that mirror so that you don't see the cracks again. If this relationship, of course, was meant to be. If not, I suppose you'll have the same problem over and over again, upon which you need to turn around and leave, because you are better than having your trust broken over and over again. So that once bitten, twice shy thing. Yeah. All right. But, so that's what I have to say with regards to trust, Eon, on your birthday.
Ja, nogal, nee?
Nogal. So what are you going to do to prove yourself trustworthy for your own birthday?
I need some time to think. But
I wish you a wonderful birthday, Eon, and a beautiful, beautiful new life year with amazing, solid, beautiful relationships with others and connections with others.
Thank you so much, and I'm very, very grateful for my connection with you, Heidi.
As am I. Thank you, Eon.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. We'll chat again next week.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Thank you.